When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. I think it's possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. I say something and then it usually happens. Maybe not on schedule, but it usually happens. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. The first step is to establish that something is possible. Then, probability will occur. Don't confuse education with schooling. I didn't go to Harvard, but people who work for me did. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket as long as you control what happens to that basket. If you get up in the morning and think the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change if the alternative is disaster. The reality is, if you're building a company, you're solving hard problems. The path to the CEO's office should not be through the CFO's office, and it should not be through the marketing department. It needs to be through engineering and design. I always have optimism, but I'm realistic. It was not with the expectation of great success that I started Tesla or SpaceX. It's just that I thought they were important enough to do anyway. Great companies are built on great products. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. It is important that people look forward to coming to work in the morning and enjoy working. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. You want to be extra rigorous about making the best possible thing you can. Find everything that's wrong with it and fix it. Seek negative feedback, particularly from friends. Really pay attention to negative feedback and solicit it, particularly from friends. Hardly anyone does that, and it's incredibly helpful. The best thing that would happen is that more companies would compete with us. And then ultimately the big car companies would see electric cars are the future, and then hopefully they would follow suit. I could either watch it happen or be a part of it. There's a tremendous bias against taking risks. Everyone is trying to optimize their ass covering. You have to be pretty driven to make it happen. Otherwise, you will just make yourself miserable. Life is too short for long-term grudges. The problem is that at a lot of big companies, the process becomes a substitute for thinking. You're encouraged to behave like a little gear in a complex machine. Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. My biggest mistake is probably weighing too much on someone's talent and not someone's personality. I think it matters whether someone has a good heart. You want to be extra rigorous about making the best possible thing you can. Find everything that's wrong with it and fix it. Seek negative feedback, particularly from friends. I think it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary.